So I wrote my first Hello World in class 11 because I had that subject Python in school a lot. One thing that I've noticed that the people you'll find in open source are so passionate about what they do. When I was in my first year, I had a senior in my college who cracked Outreach. You do not have to be cracked GSOC previously or Outreachy previously. If you are a student, you cannot apply to Outreachy if you have your regular school going on at that time. So the first part of the application process is the essay round. And one major advice that I would give to the people applying to this initial application round is the project which I got into was not the project I initially thought of going to.
Imagine a world where software is freely accessible, modifiable, and shareable. This is the essence of open source. It is a collaborative approach to software development where code is publicly available for anyone to use, study, and improve. To foster this collaborative spirit and encourage contributions, open source programs have emerged. One such notable open source program is Outreachy, which provides internship to underrepresented groups in tech. Through this program, participants gain hands-on experience by contributing to open source projects, helping them build their careers in the tech industry. And today, we have Rimjim, who has recently cracked the Outreachy program. Rimjim, thank you for joining us. Let's start with an introduction. So can you introduce yourself?
Hi, so I'm Rimjim Mittal. I'm currently pursuing computer engineering from Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala. And I just completed my third year and stepping into my fourth year. And I just got selected as an Outreachy intern this summer with the Organization Model Exchange and Convergence Initiative.
When did you start coding and how did you first learn about that there's something exists like open source?
So I wrote my first Hello World in class 11 because I had that subject Python in school. And about open source, I got to know about open source when I just took admission in college and I started exploring the possibilities in the field of tech. That's when I heard of this term called open source and started to look into it, what it was.
Open source has significantly changed my life, no matter in terms of technical skills or soft skills. So how has contributing to open source changed your life?
In open source or being as a part of Outreachy in general, it improved my communication a lot, my technical skills a lot. One thing that I've noticed that the people you'll find in open source are so passionate about what they do, like improved my global network a lot in that sense. I got a chance to meet people who had open source as their primary career path. So yeah.
Yep, like network and connections is one of the things that played very crucial role in my journey as well. And let's talk about the Outreachy program. Firstly, what is Outreachy and how did you learn about it?
Okay, so first thing is Outreachy is an open source program for the people who are underrepresented in the technology industry of the country. And how I got to know about this program was when I was in my first year, I had a senior in my college who cracked Outreachy, and she was my inspiration. That's how I got to know about it. And after that, I started looking into this on YouTube and on LinkedIn and everywhere. And that Outreach got a boom at that time. So that's how I got to know about it.
Yep, seniors play a very important role in a student development. Now let's talk about the eligibility criteria and timeline for applying in the Outreachy program.
So the eligibility criteria includes, first thing, you have to be over 18 years of age. Second thing, you do not have to be cracked GSOC previously or Outreachy previously. And third thing, I would say you can either be a student or a university professional. That's not a problem. You should be able to justify that you are a part of the underrepresented group in the technology industry of your country. So those are some of the major eligibility criteria. And about the timeline, Outreachy internship happens like twice a year, once in May and once in December cohort. The application starts in January for the May cohort and I think in August for the December cohort, and it is a 3-month long internship, almost 12 weeks, so it is almost 2.5 to 3. You can extend your internship in case you have some issue in between.
Can someone apply to both timelines May and August, May and December?
Okay, so if you are a student and your university is located in the northern hemisphere, you can apply to the May cohort. And if you are a student whose university is located in the southern hemisphere, you can apply in the December cohort. But if your university is located in India, you are considered to be in northern hemisphere. But if you are not a student, then you can apply in either cohort. But you cannot apply in once you get selected, you cannot apply again.
What documents are required, such as academic records or online course certificates? So, like when we are applying to Outreachy, then what are the documents that we need to consider?
So one thing is, if you are a student, you cannot apply to Outreachy if you have your regular school going on at that time. And generally, they consider your vacations, your summer break as when you can apply to Outreachy. So you have to submit your academic calendar, which shows your holiday duration. It can be an online school, or it can be anything that you are doing, any course that you are doing. You just have to mention about the timelines that you are free during that time. And also, you should not be doing a full-time job while you're applying to Outreach. You can be doing a part-time job, but you cannot be doing a full-time job while if you are applying to Outreach.
Let's dive into the application process now. So, Rimjim, what is the application process?
Okay, so the first part of the application process is the essay round. In this round, you'll have 3 questions which you'll have to answer in like 200 word limit each. And the main aim of these essays is to prove that you belong to the underrepresented group of the technology industry of your country. So these 3 questions you have to answer. And one major advice that I would give to the people applying to this initial application round is, you should submit your application as early as you can. Like, I submitted my application 5 days later, and I already was so scared that maybe I'm a bit late, because Outreachy receives a lot, like a huge number of applications, and it gets difficult for them to review all of them. Once they get their desired number of applications which they want to move forward to the next round, they stop reviewing the application. So it is like always better to apply in the first 3 days, I would suggest, because like the questions are same, so you can like have them prepared in advance, right? And you just have to apply. I would really suggest for anyone to apply in the first 4 days. It would be like there will be high chance of you getting selected if you do that.
So, what is the importance of these essay questions, and what are the things one should take care of in this round? One thing you already mentioned is to submit as soon as possible. But except this, what other things one should consider while applying or when writing these essays?
Okay, so I would highly suggest you to mention your own personal experiences. And second thing would be, if you're providing any data that I belong to country X and I get discriminated like this, I would suggest you to back up your answer by using some statistics or some newspaper links or like anything related to that, because that would give like an edge to your answer over others.
So, what is the next step if your application gets selected?
Once your initial application is selected, then you get a list of all the available projects for that particular cohort that you have applied to. You get to see all the available projects, and you can just go through the projects and choose the project of your interest. And you can join the forums. The forums can be Discord, Slack, or GitHub discussions. You can start introducing yourselves.
Do you have full flexibility to choose any project after selection, or are there any restrictions? If we talk about Google Summer of Code, then in Google Summer of Code, we have full flexibility. We can choose any project or any organization.
Yes, there's full flexibility. You can choose any project, and the project can vary from like all the tech stacks. It can be like Python, HTML, CSS, machine learning, and technical writing, non-tech stuff. There are like a wide range of things which are available. So you can just choose your project and get started.
If I talk about Google Summer of Code, the number of projects for Python are high in number. It is because as Google is encouraging artificial intelligence. So is this the case for Outreachy as well?
Personally did not feel that. It can be for some of the cohort in some past future, because that is very relative. Every like cohort, there is a different bunch of organizations, there are different projects, so they can be different case for each cohort. But I personally did not feel. I was able to find projects related to all the fields in my cohort. So yeah.
How do you choose a project? After your application gets selected, then what are the things you consider while selecting a project?
Okay, so when I got selected, I had an exam for the first 2 days, so I wasn't able to directly choose it. And then I opened all the projects and shortlisted a few projects which I thought was like related to my niche, or I thought I will get interested into. And then I started like running those projects locally. So the project which I got into was not the project I initially thought of going to. This was some other project, and I started to run it locally, and I wasn't able to run it locally because my machine was not supporting it for some reason. And at that time I got really scared, and then I moved on to the next project. Okay, let's try some other project. I put my queries to the Discord of that particular project, and the mentor came to help me as well, because there was some Mac OS issue with the project, and then I was able to resolve it. But then tab tak I was able to find this project which I got selected into, and I started reading about it. It's like it had a research paper attached to it. I read the whole research paper. I went to the code base, and I found this project really interesting. And I remember I pulled an all-nighter that day, and I like just keep going through the whole project one by one, each line. And I was like, okay, now I'm getting this project. And so yeah, this was about me choosing that project. And so yeah, I would suggest one thing that I would emphasize on: please choose one project initially, and that should be your primary project that you put all your efforts in. If you think that you have contributed enough to one project, only then switch to another project as a backup, because I've seen people doing like choosing multiple projects, and then they do not get selected in any of those. So I would say just get one project as your primary project, and do as much contribution as you can, because I also thought of choosing like 2 or 3 projects to be safe. But then when I started contributing, I realized I have so much work to do in this project that I cannot afford to like compromise with this project for some other project.
How many projects should a person can choose? For instance, in Google Summer of Code, we can select at max 3 projects.
There is no limitation in Outreachy, but it is suggested that you choose only 2 projects at max. And I would personally recommend to choose one primary project in which you put all your efforts into.
Yeah. Should we start searching for an organization beforehand and contribute to it, or wait till we get shortlisted? Because there could be a risk or that we are contributing to an organization and it did not came.
Well, if I was to choose, I would not start contributing earlier before the announcement, because the first thing is the organizations which get selected, you do not know. Second thing is the project of that organization which is going to be there in the cohort, you do not know. So there would be like very low chances of like the work that you do is relevant for the internship. So I would really suggest that once you get selected and the project details are out, only then you start contributing. And again, your mentor has different requirements which he will mention after the commencement of the contribution period, so it is better to wait till then. If someone has interest in like exploring the process, then probably he can.
Are there any organization or group of organization that are coming consistently? In Google Summer of Code, we have some data that there are some organization whose probability is higher.
Yeah, like I would say not project but organizations. There are organizations which have been coming consistently to Outreachy as well as like LFX or Google Summer of Code. Some of them would be my organization, the Model Exchange and Convergence Initiative. I've been seeing this coming for the last, I think, 3 years. I checked the data, and Fedora has been coming, and OCaml has been coming. There are many organizations which are like which keep coming, but you do not know about what project they want the interns to do, right?
Do we need to record our contributions on the Outreachy website or somewhere in the contribution phase?
So your contribution phase would be of a duration of 1 month, and after that you will have to submit your final application. And you can start preparing your final application once your contribution phase begins. And with every contribution that you make, you have to record that contribution in that final application form. So yes, you have to record your contributions, and there are like some questions within like your contributions as well related to about your education and your journey with tech and your journey with open source. Some general questions.
What does that record means? Is there some questions or links what we need to share? That what does that record means?
For example, if I've made a like pull request which got merged, so I have to put the link of the pull request, and I have to mention the date it got merged and the date I started contributing to that particular issue which I solved in that pull request. A minimum requirement is you have to make one contribution. Okay. And about the number of pull requests, number of pull requests do not matter, but the quality of pull requests matter. I might make a pull request with a lot of like meaningful changes, and someone might make 10 pull requests with just correcting a spelling or something. So it is not about the number of pull requests, it is about the contribution that you make.
Do we only need to contribute, or do we need to submit any documents or proposal as well in the last of our contribution phase?
So, no, we are not asked to submit a proposal along with our final application. We just have to submit the details of our contributions, and a timeline is asked. We can prepare a doc or we can just put that in the textual format. But I personally made a proposal. I don't know why. I just like thought of making a timeline which would be visually appealing using Canva, and then I thought, okay, इतना कर लिया है तो थोड़ा सा contribution भी add कर देती हूँ. Contribution add किया है तो चलो project description भी add कर देती हूँ, introduction भी add कर देती हूँ. Like later I just prepared my whole proposal and I attached the link to that proposal in my application. So but it is generally not asked and it is not required to do.
Do connections with mentors play a crucial role in your contribution being accepted?
So in contribution phase, I would give one major tip is just look at that project as your own project and just start going through the code base, try finding bugs, try finding ways you can contribute to the project. Okay, so what I did was I was given like 3 tasks from my mentor, and I did those 3 tasks. But along with those 3 tasks, I started looking for other things I can do to contribute to this project, and I started making more contributions and started approaching my mentor with the possibilities of what can be done. And I did all that in the forum itself so that the community can see and so that everyone can see, because it is generally advised to not DM the mentors because it is an open source thing. So just keep the communication on the forum, your GitHub discussions, your Slack, your Discord, and yeah, just keep like constant communication with your mentor, and that would help because that would make him recognize you with your name. So
Suppose if we get selected in the outreachy program, so in these 3 months, how much work do we need to do? Is this a lot or a decent amount?
So you have been asked to devote like 30 hours a week to your outreachy project. So yeah, you can see that as an average, and rest it depends on the person to person, right? For example, if a beginner is doing a project, he might take a like longer time than someone who is experienced. So that depends on the person how much time he takes to do it. But I would say the time commitments are moderate. Like you can do your other work as well. It is not like too hectic for a person. And also the communication styles also depend on your mentor. For example, in my project, my mentors prefer weekly video chats and rest of the communication through GitHub or through Gmail. So yeah.
How can we increase our chances as the acceptance rate for outreachy is really low?
You just have to try to stand out of the crowd, and for that you have to make meaningful contributions, and you have to keep constant communication with your mentor. So that is only thing that is going to help you.
I have read somewhere that we cannot apply for outreachy if we are an ex-GSOCian. Is that true? Also, or like we can apply for Google Summer of Code and outreachy simultaneously. Can we apply both simultaneously?
In fact, there is a question in the
Yep.
last round of the final application. They ask you if you have applied to GSOC as well and in the organization, because I think in the end that is my assumption, that in the end you get selected in one of those, so they can like decide on which one program they have to choose you for. Maybe
Okay, so
something like
like
that, but you can apply.
What is your project and how are your contributions going?
Okay, so the name of my project is called Streamlit-based interface for running ML/AI models in MDF. So I'm making an application in which you upload a JSON, YAML, or BSON file of a computational model, and when you upload that file, my app would parse the file, and it would show you some plots and extract out the parameters from it and help the basically the user to see and explore their project and make changes to your project. And the JSON file or the BSON file has to be in a particular format, which is called model description format, and it is the name of my project. So yeah, you can check more about it on Outreach website, or I'll just share a link to it. So if anyone is interested, you can just explore it.
Okay, so like you be paid after the project or some percentage of stipend will be transferred between the internship?
Basically, there is this thing called feedback. Me
Okay.
and my mentors will get a form to fill in which we have to answer some of the questions regarding our internship, about if we are like the things are going fine and everything. And
Okay.
if we have like positive answers to this, then we get paid once in between the internship. Like I think it was in the middle of the internship period, and once after the end of the internship.
Like participations of girls or females in tech is very low. A lot of programs like Girls Script Summer of Code, Outreachy, She-Fi and She-Build are working to change that mindset. And scholarships are also available, especially for girls who want to study tech. If a girl is watching this podcast or video and wants to join the tech, but still she is confused, so what sort of advice would you give to?
Okay, so I would say just take the first step, dive in and explore, because there are a lot of people and resources who are there to help you. And because tech is vast, there are things from like web development, app development, machine learning, product management, and there are like a lot of things more than this which you can explore. And now there are so many programs that you mentioned which are there to support you. So you'll definitely gonna find resources and people to help you in this journey. So just take the first step and explore.